putting on beautiful portrait, okay? And if you've got a scale rule, fabulous. If you don't have a scale rule, you can measure from the side of the surface that you're working on. So for example, oh, that doesn't have any lead in it. So if you sort of go, okay, well, I'll make it sit, 10 centimeters in from the edge here, then hold it, make a little mark with your pen on the surface if you can, and then go, okay, I want the bottom to be at least 10, so take it up, keep it in line with 10 and make it 10 from the bottom or something like that. Okay, but then just give yourself 2 points of reference so that you get this line of the side of the page and the line of the side of the page up here. Okay, so you can line these up. Having 2 points of reference and putting a straight line between both of them makes life a lot easier. So I just keep losing that one. And there. So there is my, that's what I do. And then stick it down, okay? That's if you don't have a T-square. If you do have a T-square, you can just work out where you want to have your piece of paper. I try and get it, a bit further into the middle of the desk so I can see what I'm doing, and a bit further down. And then you slide it under. If you've got one of these rulers, you slide it under that piece of plastic there, and it'll just sit in the right place. Make sure you keep holding on and just pulling gently on the side here of your T-square. I don't know if you can see, there's the side of my T-square there. Then stick it down, okay? So get yourself 4 pieces of sticky tape, fold the edges so that it makes it easy for you to actually remove the sticky tape off the surface that you're working on. Okay, so just fold the edge down. Makes it a lot easier. Now, you might want to put 2 pieces down the bottom. I'm not going to, because I just make sure I'm just careful that I don't do that and lift the pieces of paper up. So I'll just bring that down again, and my piece of sticky tape came off. And I will move the camera down a little bit too. Sorry guys, what's going on here? Where's the zoom? There we go. Oh no, not that way. It's not really moving down that way, is it? I want to move up. Okay, I'll have to do it this way. Okay, now you can see the top of my page. Sorry about that. So there's the top of it. You can see those 2 pieces of tape there. Move it up a little bit more so you can see it. Sorry guys. There we go. So you can just see those 2 pieces of sticky tape. And as I said, I fold the edges. Now you might want to make sure that you do some down here as well. I'll do it just so you can see the process, and you just do it on the very corners. Don't try and put great big wads of it, because it's hard to remove from what you're doing. And then stick the bottom down here like that, just to keep it in place. All right. Oh, that's just a bit odd, isn't it? The first thing that we did last week is we measured 4 centimeters, and we're going to be drawing at 1 to 20. So 1 to 20 is on the red side. This is 1 to 20, okay? And 1 to 20, I don't know if you can see that really well or not. It just keeps moving really weirdly. 1 to 20 is this one here. It's on the red side here, and you'll see 0.05, 0.01, I'll just get rid of that, 0.05, sorry, 0.5, 1, 1.5 and then 2. And that's 500 millimetres, 1 metre, 1500 millimetres and 2 metres or 2000 millimetres. Okay, that's what those things actually mean. There, you can, that's better, isn't it? I really wish my camera wasn't so blurry. Anyway, and there, that's what we're going to use. Every one of these is 100 millimetres. So the big, this little notch here, that's 100. And if you count those, there should be 5 of them before you get to the 0.5. And that means there's 500. So that's 100 millimetres. And each one of the little tiny ones in between there are 20 millimetres. Okay, so it goes down even further. All right, so the first thing we will do is, depending on what, and if you've got your picture in front of you, which I did have a picture in front of me. No, not that one. Wrong drawing. It's this one. You will have, oh, I don't, okay. You will have one of those, except I need to print out one of those. Sorry guys. Stick it down. Measure 4 centimetres from the bottom. And you can do that by, at 1 to 20, you can measure up 800 millimetres.
Sorry, Annalise. Are you saying that we use one of the one we printed out or a blank one?
What do you mean?
Well, I followed your instruction to put a blank piece of paper stuck on as measured.
Yep.
But you're saying we need to print out the others. So do we use the others or do we use...
No, what I'm saying is that if you can print this out,
yes,
print it out. If you can't, have it on the screen. But the ones that you will print out will look more like this one, where you've got 2 sets of measurements on them.
yes.
And 1 set of measurements for a centimetre ruler, and the other set of measurements, the larger set, is 1 to 20 measurements.
Right. But when we're still sticking and working on a blank piece of paper, not the one that you've already given us. Is that what
That's correct. These are only reference drawings.
Oh, I see.
You're redrawing this, and this is what it'll look like when it finishes, when you finish with it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's all right. Sorry, I didn't know you didn't understand that bit. So I need to print out. I thought I had one printed out, but I don't. Where is it? That one. No, don't want that one. Give me that, and I'll print it out. So print over there. Thank you very much. So I'm just printing mine out. I'll get rid of that one because it doesn't have. And Cat can play with that later. There you go. So you should have downloaded that one. Oh, sorry. Get rid of that. You should have downloaded this one, which has got both sets of measurements on it. Okay, see that? So the red set of measurements is so you can use a centimetre ruler, an ordinary centimetre ruler, as opposed to a to the scale ruler, because I know some of you don't have your scale rulers left. So that's an ordinary centimetre ruler. You use the centimetre numbers on here, and not the 1 to 21. Okay, so do you understand that? Can I get a yay or a nay from you guys about whether you understand that or not?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sorry. Good, excellent. Alrighty, so we're going to do this. Just so you know, this CL here means it's a centre line for an object in the drawing. Centre line means that it's placed, the object is placed centred on that measurement here. All right, but I'll get to that later. I just wanted you to know that so you understand. Okay, so on the bottom of this page anyway, it says leave 4 centimetres at the bottom of your page for a title block. All drawings have title blocks, particularly technical drawings have title blocks. And is that the one I want to draft with? Yes, it is. So I've measured, so you measure up, if you've got a centimetre ruler, do it in centimetres, 4 centimetres. If you're using your scale ruler and you're using 1 to 20, measure up 800 millimetres, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that actually equals 4 centimetres. Okay. I can actually put a ruler on there to show you that it equals 4 centimetres.
Annalise?
Yes.
So if I just measure yours from here to here, it's actually 4.5 centimeters.
Is that a 1 to 20? Is that a 1 to... Is that an A4 page or an A...
This is A4 page. I just printed it out.
Yeah, it's just that what's happening is that when it gets printed out, it's squished it onto the printable area of your printer, so it's not to scale. So don't measure it with your ruler. Go by the measurements that I have told you.
Okay, I will.
Okay, and what's written on here. And that's the thing about scale drawings, is that you don't measure a plan that's given to you. You go by the measurements that they tell you that these things are. Okay?
All right. Yeah.
So, because with normal printers, what happens is there's only a printable area, and there's about 5 mil on all the way around a page that the printer won't print to. And that's why half of it, and what it'll try and do is it'll try and squish it so it fits on the page. You can ask your printer, not all printers do, but you can ask your printer to print it not to scale, but you ask it not to do that. There's different ways you can get your printer to do that, but I would just say don't measure this, okay? Measure use the measurements that are written down, okay? And that's a good thing.
I did your one on the video, and it was slightly bigger to the print version, but the measurements are correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so just go by the measurements, not by what you see here in front of you. And that's a good rule of thumb for any sort of technical drawings that anybody gives you. Go by the measurements, not by measuring the plan, okay?
All right. Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
that's all right. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's just do that line going across. So if you've got a centimetre rule, I go up, I go 4 centimetres, or it's 800 in 1 to 20. Draw a line across. Now I'm just going to leave that there. That's where our title block will fit, because it's better to do the drawing, and I like to do the title block last, because if I make a mistake and I've already drawn the title block, if you started drawing by drawing the title block every time, you waste a lot of time. Do you know what I mean? It's better to just do the drawing and then do the title block last. All right? Okay, once we've done that, this area here, I'll just make that line a bit darker, is the area that we are going to draw in. This is our drawing area. This is the area that we will be doing our drafting in. And to find the center of a page, what you can do, and what we need to do, is if you go from this corner where, you know, where the 4 centimetres is on your drawing area, to the corner at the top of the page, diagonally across, and then just very gently do a line. You can't see that again, it's just dreadful. I think I might have to go and buy a thing. And then do the same from this corner here in your drawable area to this corner up here, and do another cross here, so that you've got where these two diagonals meet. That then becomes the very center of this, all of this area here. Okay, and then draw a hot. Sorry, my internet's not good at the moment. I'm going to drop in and out. I'm so sorry. Draw a line going horizontally across. No, I want that. I'm back.
Oh,
I'm back.
what's his name? Oh. Sorry, what's his name? Lucas. Oh, Lucas.
Oh, very cute.
Lucas back. And Lucas back.
I'm back. I'm back. Oh, okay. So, there it is there. I want to do that so I can see you all. Okay. So, we drew a horizontal line using that center point and draw a vertical line. Now, if you have a centimeter ruler and you've found the center of the page, just measure, find the measurement. I think it's 10.5, and just mark 10.5 here and 10.5 at the top, and then find out what that measurement is, which is 13 and 13. So just 13 up there, and do another 13 over here, and then you've got 2 points of reference to draw a straight line. All right, so this is finding the center of our page. We now look at our drawing and we find that our drawing is 36 millimeters by 2,000 millimeters. So the width is 2,000 and the length is 26. So we'll do that using your scale ruler. Half of 2 meters or 2,000 millimeters is 1. So I will mark my 1 on my scale ruler, and then I'll mark the 0 and I'll mark the 2. I've put the 10 on that center point there so that I can just do my 10 mil on either side, which then gives me my 200 millimeters all up, not 10 mil, but that one's going there. Just pop that there on my lap for a minute. And then we know that the length is 26, so half of 26 is 13, so we find 13. So if that's 1, 2, 3, sorry, 10, 11, 12, 13, mark the 13, and if I put that 13 going vertically on the center point, I can then mark my 0 and I can mark my 26 up here. Okay. And then draw lines going straight across.
Sorry, Annalise, can you tell me once again? I kind of missed it.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about- Thank you.
So half of, so we know the width of this is 2 meters or 2,000 millimeters. We know the depth of this room is 26 millimeters. Okay. Can you turn off your mic because I can hear myself in the background? That'd be good. Okay. So if this one is 2 and we want to center this drawing in the middle of the page, we would find the center of 2 meters or 2,000 millimeters. And this is 2,000 millimeters here. Half of that is 1. So I put the 1 on the center, on this center point here, the very center of my page and of my drawing. And then I measure this, then I mark the 0 and I mark the 2,000 millimeters. And I might just bring that in a little bit because I don't think you can really see that very well. I'm just bringing that in a bit more. All right, so I've got my 1, which is here in the center of the page, and then I've got mark the 0, mark the 2. And then I turn my ruler vertically on this page, and I can see that I've got to find half of 26. Half of 26 is 13. So I know where 1 is on my 1 to 20 scale, and then I count 1, 2, 3. And that gives me 1,300 millimeters. I then put that 1,300 on my center, that center point in the middle of the page, and I mark off the 0 and then the 26, which is up here. So you go further up and you'll find 25, and then one more notch up, or one of the larger notches up, gives you the 26. Okay. So do you see what I'm doing? I'm just finding the center of it so I can make sure that I'm measuring the same on either side so that my drawing still remains in the center. And then, as I said before, draw a line across. Now, if you don't have a T-square, you will have to measure down both these lines this same measurement and up to get 2 points of reference. And then the same, you will measure out that line 100 and out that line 100 for those who don't have a T-square, and draw a line down like that. Draw a line down like that. Okay. And that gives us this internal part. We've just drawn this internal part here. Now what we'll do is we'll put on the wall thicknesses, and we can find those by looking at our plan that I've given you. And this is 100 millimeters at 1 to 20 thick. This one is 120 millimeters. This one is, this thickness is 1 as well. This thickness going through here is 120. So let's just do the 100 ones first, which is this one and this one. Okay, these two walls here. So measure away from your drawing 100 at 1 to 20. Put a mark in there and do the same on the other corner going the other way, so you're measuring out this way. So you should have two sort of little marks that go there. You can't see that first one, sorry. And then
Sorry, what was that measurement that you just said?
look on your drawing and you'll find it. It's 100.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, which is what one of these is. From there to there. It's 100. Alrighty. And then just measure out. And make a measurement down there as well. I mean, make a line, not a measurement. A line. See, I'm losing my mind. Like that. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil a bit. Can you see those lines all right? They're a bit light, aren't they?
Yes, but can you pause for
Yeah, sure.
just for 1 minute?
Yep.
2 minutes actually, just so we can catch up.
No, that's all right. I'm just going to darken in some of my lines. So that you can see them better. That's better, isn't it? I'm just going to do that. Make that a bit darker for everybody.
Sorry, I don't know. Is it 1 centimeter or? Sorry about that.
If okay, hold on. If you are using a centimeter ruler,
Yeah.
use the centimeter measurements in red.
So it's 1 centimeter.
No, actually, it shouldn't be 1 centimeter. I'm sorry, that's wrong. That should be 0.5.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking.
Thank you for that. Yep, just change that, everybody. I'm complete Wally. Oh, see, no, I did change this. Anyway, see, that should say 6. That should say 0.5. And that one should say 0.5 as well. My mistake.
And it's supposed to be outside the initial...
The initial line that we did. So you're doing it on the outside. Boom. And then boom. And you have to make that noise at the same time. Is that one right? Oh, see, these two are right. I got those two right. I just didn't change these two. That's it. I'm fired as a teacher. I'm firing myself as a teacher. 0.5 centimeters. Please fix this as it is happening more and more. If it continues, I will have to find another provider.
Hi, gorgeous. I love your earrings and your hair.
Hello. Sorry. It's so annoying. I bet that doesn't go through. Yeah, I thought so. Shitty thing that it is. Alrighty, how are we going? Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. You can only see me. You don't want to see me. You want to see what I'm doing. Right, there we go. Here we go. So we've done that, and as was...
So we just want to confirm, is that half a centimetre?
Yes, it is half a centimetre. So, just in case I've made more mistakes, because I know I changed these ones, but obviously didn't change these. Any of these measurements here, what you do is you just halve that number and turn it into a centimetre. So this is 16. Half of 16 is 8 centimetres. Okay. If it's 100, it will be 0.5. Okay, because that's half a centimetre. This one is 0.6 because it's half of 120 is 60. So you just go 0.6. So that would be, on one of these rulers, it would be like half a centimetre plus 1. Okay? I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I need to put something white underneath it. There we go. So it would be half a centimetre plus 1 little notch right next to it. And that gives you the centimetre. Okay. So that's basically what it is. You just halve all of the measurements that are on there. If it doesn't look right, it should look right now. See, I did these ones down here. I just didn't do these ones here. I did that one. I just didn't do the other ones. Why not? Oh, so annoying. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm now going to measure down, and I'll do it with my centimetre one this time. 6. And 6 on this side, millimetres. And so it'll be just slightly bigger on that side, and then just measure that. Can I sort of have a, who doesn't have, how many of you don't have scale rulers? Do you all, sorry, I need a sort of like, you've got a scale ruler? So use your scale ruler at 1 to 20. Okay. If you, so is there only a few people? Okay. Who is that? Who's got their hand up? Sorry, I can't see you in the, where's the comment page here? Right. So Junie's got one. Sharu, have you got a?
Yeah.
You've got one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's only a couple of you who don't have a scale ruler. Can I hear from the people who don't have a scale ruler? Who don't have a scale ruler? Do not have a scale ruler.
I don't have one.
Okay. So who's that? Sorry, I can't see who's talking. I can't see you. Who is that? So one of you. I'm back. Okay. So yeah. All right. I just wanted to know because I'll just change over to using just the centimetre if you all don't have. All right, I'm just going to do that. Right. So let's put in these little numbers, and what we've got is we've got a couple of measurements here, but let's find the measurement that's the width of this bench top here. And if we go over here, we can see that this dimension here is pointing exactly. And that's how you can find out where the dimensions, or where these dimensions are pointing to. So that looks like it's 400. And then if I go back here, that's 100 away from the wall. And then it comes out 400, and that's so, oh, okay. So that then is the edge of the basins. But let's draw the 400 of the vanity top, which is this bit here. All right. So we will measure in from our back wall, and it's already done because our window opens there. From that corner, measure in 400. We've actually done it with our window opening. So we're just going to very lightly continue that line all the way across. Okay. Just lightly. Don't do it too dark. Did my head get in the way then? Sorry. No, didn't. Good. And then we're going to go over to this side so that we can set up where our basins are going to be. And we're going to come in by 1, and then we're going to add 400. Okay, because there's a gap of 100 behind this basin, and the actual basin itself is 400. So on this side, I will measure in 100 there, and then I will measure 400. We could do it on that side if you wanted to. So from that very corner, measuring my 100 and then my 400, which brings me up to 5. And just, again, very lightly draw those lines going across so you can see where they are. So this line is the edge of our vanity. This line is the edge of our basin, and this line is the back of our basin. So we've just set up some very, very nice, what we call construction lines. And to get the basins set in place, we'll go up to this set of dimensions up here, because they're pointing down towards the basin. And if we look, how far in does the basin start on either side of here? It's 300. So let's measure in 300. Oops, I keep doing that. We'll measure in 300. And if I come over to this side, I can measure in 1, 2, 300 that side. Just leave my ruler there. And then the width of the basin is 500. We can see that. There's my measurement there, 500. So we've come in 300, and if we add 5, that makes it 8. So I can mark off 800 that way, and I can do the same over this side. Turn your ruler around, 0, 300, and if I add 500 to 300, that gives me 800, and I'll mark that off as well. And with those measurements, you can very, very gently draw down where the basins are going to sit. Okay, so in here is where, now it's a bit confusing at the moment, so let's look at where the basins are going to start. And so that we don't get confused, we will mark for the basins where the basins are going to be, so we know where those 4 corners of the basin are. And then get your eraser and just remove this line and this line that's inside the basin like that. Okay? So that we can see where the basin starts, where it finishes, the width of it, and back again. And I might even get rid of these ones at the back here too as well. Because it's...
Sorry, that line that you're rubbing out, what was that measurement?
This one? That was...
Rubbing out.
Yeah, these were the measurements that I drew from the side of the...
No, not that way, the other way.
This one?
No, up. Well, the one that you just rubbed out, it looks like it might be 100 from the top.
Yeah, it's 100 from here to here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Remember? So we measured in 100 and then we measured down 400, which is 500 altogether.
Oh, okay.
And then I came back and I worked out where the basins were going to sit by putting a darker dot on those points. And if I darken that up, remembering to cross your lines very, 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 just a titch. And that one. And that's in front of my basin. I'll just wait for you guys to catch up onto that bit. So I'll just... However, we missed all of this. Sorry, boys and girls, or girls. You can just leave it as a square if you want to. All right? So you can leave it as a square. We're not worrying too much about curves because we don't have the proper equipment to do it. But we do know that this is going to be a toilet because we do things like, you know, add that distance on, which I think I made about 150 or something like that. I'm not sure. Just make it about 150 deep at 1 to 20. So I'm just going to make it 150 deep at 1 to 20. And just draw a line across. So that ends up being our toilet. We're pretty lucky that our screen, sorry, I keep forgetting that I've got a small thing, that our screen for our shower is only 1 meter. So if I come, I just go, okay, this is 1 meter, goes across there. And the width of our shower is also 1 meter. So that gives us the width. And the length is over here, whichever way you want to talk about it. I already know that this is 1 meter because when I first drew it up, I had to find the center of the drawing first. But I'll measure it anyway. From this corner to here is 1 meter. And then I'm going to measure 1 meter going up, which is to here, which is actually should line up with the door very nicely. So if I, again, you set up what are called construction lines first before you decide that you are going to make lines a little bit darker. This measurement from here to here is 100 millimeters or 0.5 because the teacher got it wrong when she was doing the calculations because she's dyslexic. So along this line, I'll measure in 100, put a mark there. And if I go, all right, then how big does this make the door then? If this is a fixed bit of glass here, and a fixed bit of glass going down here, and this is 100 millimeters from here, 1000 millimeters from here to here, and I take off 100 millimeters, how big does that make the door? Can someone tell me?
At 900?
That's correct. Well done. So I have to draw my door at 900, which is going to go up this way. So gently draw a line up to give yourself a construction line, just like that. And then measure up that line. The reason why I drew the line first is so that when you measure, you've got a line, a straight line to measure on. Okay, so I'm going to come up to 900, which is to there. And then from that point to this point here is where my door opening is going to be.
Paper a little bit down.
Oh, yes, sorry. It does. It's only done by fifth. Enough. Oh, no, wrong way. Sorry.
Thanks.
There we go. So we drew a line going up there. We measured up our 900, marked it off, and then from the point of the 900 to where the glass opening is, which would normally be a curve, but because we don't have a curve, we're just going to draw it as a straight line. So from that point where the 900 finishes on this line, I'm just going to draw a line from there to there so that we know that the door's opening that way. And then you can just darken up. What if I just stand down the bottom here? You can darken up this line. You can darken up this line. And you can darken up this line here. Okay. Don't darken that line in. We're only having very, very dark lines here, here, and here, and eventually on here to say that this is glass, because glass is actually indicated in drafting as a much thicker line than other lines that you might use. And then this is 100 mil. This is the, oh, sorry, I keep doing that, don't I? Sorry. This from here to here is the width of the grate here, and it's 100 millimeters or 0.5. And the width of it goes, you know, along that entire width of where the shower is. So let's measure up on this side here from that corner our 100, and then we'll extend that line going all the way up, out, up, out, out until it gets to the other side like that. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, I can't count that. Let me try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. Then try and draw 4 lines in there if you can. The measurements are going to be three, and then one more, 4. Well, that's not too bad. It's hard to measure that, but just try and get 1, 2, 3, 4 lines in there, and that gives us our grate. I might just darken that one up a little bit. Oh my goodness, look at that. Does the page keep moving up all the time or something? Oh no, it won't go down any further than that. Okay, I'm going to do that one. See, what if I do that and I do And then move it down here. There. Don't move. Oh, my drawing looks really grubby, doesn't it? Okay. How you going, girls? Oh, I wonder if Optus heard me whinging out loud. I haven't had a breakdown yet. It's on. It's just on. Have you all done that? Are you all okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Where the toilet was, there was a measurement of 450 or 2.5, but actually it's not the correct because 450 is not the 2.5. There is a little bit.
Oh, it's 2.25.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm just saying for someone
So you could make it 2.3 if you wanted to. That's closer to 0.25 because it's hard to measure 0.25. So get it as close as you can.
Yeah.
With this ruler. So if I do that and I do, what did I say it was? It was 450. If you go 450, if you make it 2.123, yeah, just make it 2.3. That should be fine. Whew. Oh, see, that's 2.5. Is this the correct one I actually put through, or am I just losing my mind? Okay. And 180 in centimeters would be 8 millimeters. 2, 4, 6, that's 8. So I think that's how it's worked out. So that's 8. Okay. So that means that so that means that that's 2.3, and then you would measure that way 8 millimeters and measure that way 8 millimeters. That's sorry, 8.8 centimeters and 0.8 centimeters for that one. Okay. How are we going? We've got every one of those. Let's put in our 2 taps. So if we go up the top, like we have here, and we bring it in 150, measuring from the outside line. Do that on both of those, on both of these basins. What did I say? 250. Might have to do it that way so I don't get my head in the way. So at the very top, I'm going to go 1 to 50 and 1 to 50, I think. Oh, gosh. My eyes are getting really bad. And then just gently draw a line and then draw another line, just doing that. So that's our guidelines for our tap. And you can make up your own measurement. I mean, it depends on what tap you get. That's the thing. I'm just going to make mine 200. That's how long my tap is going to be from the wall, because it comes in from the wall. I'm just going to do this. And again, rather than putting round bits on everything, so this is the center line of where my tap is going to go. This is where this line here and here is where my tap finishes. And I'm just going to put a small line on either side of that first one, so it gives it a little bit of a thickness. And I'll stop it at that horizontal line. So as long as it looks fairly close, it's hard to measure, you know, because it's really only one of those little tiny points. Oh, that one looks bigger than the other one. How did that happen? And there we go. Now I've made it look thick and heavy. Let's just do that, and let's just do that. And that's going to be enough for me to say that they're taps. Okay. You don't have to put in the sink hole because we don't have a circle template. So you could make it a square underneath, but let's just go with that. And if you really, 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 really want to have like a handle, you can just put a little handle out to either side. You know, one of those taps that does that. A mixer tap. You can do something like that. And that sort of indicates that we've got a bit of a tap there. And then that makes you finished. I'm just darkening up some of these lines so that I can see them better.
Can we shade in the outlines?
Yeah, you can just sort of shade it in with your pencil if you want to, just to say that it's going to be black in there. You don't have to make it perfect, but just so that you know that, because you're going to draw this up in ink. Don't panic. That's going to stop there, and then that one's going to go around the corner like this.
Are we all going to do with the markers all of them?
Yeah, because you'll trace it off. Or if you don't have any trace paper, you'll just do it over the top of your pencil drawing. But let's just get it finished in pencil first so that we've got all our bits and pieces. Okay, I'm just darkening up some lines for myself so that I can see better. I might do that one. Have I got a... Give me... What's that one? Nope. What's that one? Nope. What's that one? No. Oh. Don't I have a thick one. Where did I have a thick one? Never mind. What's that one? Nope. No. And right. That's a 2B. I'm just going to use my 2B to darken in the rest of my lines here. Ah! So we can do that. So I'm just using a 2B to colour this in with. It's not something that I would draft with, but it's easier to colour in with a 2B than it is to colour in with a harder and lighter pencil. I might even put some lines in here so that I can just on the inside do a bit of backlining with the old pencil. It makes it easier for me to colour in and not make a complete debacle of it. Just do this one, and this one. Oh, missed a bit. There we go. That makes it a bit easier for me to colour in now. I don't actually have to worry about oh, that hurts. And that one. And this one.
Annalise,
Yeah.
in the window, do we leave this, the smaller lines inside this rental or
With the frame around it.
yeah, because the print has.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So let me just fix that, shall I? It's just that I darkened them in before, so I'll just do that. What's that? That's a 2B. So this, oops, has to remain like an open thing. Well spotted. Just make that look beautiful. Oh, this drawing looks so dirty. Anyway, so there's there we go. So you're quite right. Let's do that. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the center line a bit darker so it indicates and a bit wider like we did with our windows in our initial window drawings. Whoops. Oh, that moved, didn't it? Okay. One more time with feeling. Oh, it's because of this keeps getting caught down the bottom. Right. Okay. There we go. So it should sort of look something like that without the dirtiness. Right. So we should have something that looks like that. Okay. Do you want to have some lunch or have you had lunch, guys? Okay, let's have some lunch until about 1:15. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Go and have some lunch. I'll leave that on. I'll stop recording. That is recording on. And then what we're going to do is we'll set up or work out where we're going to set up our next drawing sheet of paper. I'll bring that out again so you can see better as well. Oh, that's really good, isn't it? Bring that up. Ta-da! So that you can see this. Okay. So we're going to draw this, but we're going to use the plan to help us draw the elevation. And we're going to use the plan above the next drawing we're going to do. So what I've done is I've made sure I've got plenty of room for my both drawings to fit on the page. Now I've got half of my plan drawing underneath because I really only want to see this much of my plan. Okay. And once I work out that I can fit 2 sheets on, even though this sheet is half underneath the top sheet, I'm going to stick down my top sheet again. So, because I needed to bring it up higher. So I'll do that and I'll just stick the top part of that down. You can't see the sticky tape, but I am sticking it down like so. Just make those a bit stickier. And then I'll bring my second sheet of paper, which is my clean sheet, and I'll place it over the top. Again, line it up with your ruler and line it up with the piece of paper that's above you so that the sides are together like this, and make sure it's sitting very nicely under that clear plastic part of your ruler. And then I'll stick that one down as well, just to the side there, and another one over there. So what this does, if you use your plan to help you draw your elevation, then it makes life a little bit easier as far as dimension, having to remeasure everything. The first thing we will do is what we did before, which was to measure up from the bottom and leave the 4 centimeters or 800 millimeters at 1:20 at the bottom for our title block. So we'll do that. And we'll do the other thing that we did before, which was we found the center of our drawing space. This is our drawing space. So I'll go from here to, oh, that's not long enough, is it? That one's long enough. So I'll go from here to there and do a line. And again, from that corner up there of the page down to where my title block is going to start. And there's the center of this drawing area, like we did the first time. I'll just get rid of that. It's not looking very nice. Okay, do that. All right.
Can we just zoom in a little bit?
Oh, okay. You want me to zoom in now? Oh, no, I can't at the moment. Do you want me? I'll draw the lines darker. All right? Because I need you to see both things at this point in time. So let me just draw those darker. So here's the 4 centimeters we left at the bottom of our page for our title block. What am I drawing with? A 2B. I'm drawing with a 2B. Ah, you can see that. And then from that edge, so from that corner diagonally across to that corner. Oh, that's better. You can see that, can't you? And then from this corner up here of this page down to this corner here above our title block area. And you get that. There you go. Sorry about that. Oh, look, I've creased my page. And then you're only going to need to draw this line. No, not that line. Not that line. Not that line. This line. You're only going to need to draw from the center. I know you are. What's wrong with me? Don't ask. Don't ask. Yes, it is this one. Sorry, I was right the first time. So you will draw the horizontal line going across, which you'll line up with the center of your page, and then just draw a line going across. If you don't have a T-square, then you find out what that measurement is from here to here, and you'll do it from here to here, and then you've got 2 points of which to draw a straight line with that you can equal up both those points. Put your ruler between both the points, and that'll give you a straight line. Okay, so we've got that. Now, we just need to measure down from this line and up from this line the overall height of this little number here. So the height, which is over here, the overall height, so this is the elevation, this is what we're looking at. This is a wall now we're going to draw. And the wall height is 2400 or 12 centimeters. And half of 24 is 12. So with our scale ruler, we find at 1 to 20, 12. So there's 1 meter, 11, 12. So that's 12. And I'll just put a little mark there on my scale ruler so I can see it. See, that's 1, 11, 12. Put your 12 in the center and mark your 0 and mark your 24 at 1 to 20. And you should, and then draw lines going across like that. So that's the height of our, from there to there is the height of our wall. I'll just make that darker. Sorry, I'm not making these dark enough for you. So this is just about getting, again, the drawing in the center of the page so that we've got lots of room around the edge to be able to put in our dimensions, and so that the drawing and the technical drawing has lots of space around it so it's easy to read. I'm going to get rid of those 2 crossing over points because they'll drive me insane after a while. But we only need those 2 lines. That's the ceiling and that's the floor. All right. So the rest of this is going to be drawn using the help of our plan up here that's just poking out the top of our drawing. And we're only drawing the inside. An elevation only shows the internal wall. This is the wall we're drawing. Doesn't show the thickness of the wall. An elevation only shows you what's on that wall from here to here. So I'm going to draw using my existing drawing without having to do any measurements. I'm going to put in the outer, so that's the whole of the elevation. And then I'm going to go across and I'm just going to touch on the outside of there, the center line of the tap, the outside of the sink, the outside of this sink, the center line of this tap, and the outside of that sink. And it means that I don't have to measure it because I've already measured it once. Center line of my tapware. So just do like, I don't know if you can see those light lines. I'll do that a bit thicker, sorry. And that's the center line. And I'll just make them go down. Where am I? There. That doesn't look like it's straight, but never mind. There's that one. There's the center of that one. And then there's the center of this one. Now these are just going to be guidelines. Okay? They're just guidelines for me. I'm just going to make them darker so you can see them. And here, here, and here. All the way down that line. Now I will be erasing some of this, but they're just guidelines. So if you want to put a CL there and a CL there so that you know that these are two center lines, or if you want to write the word tap so that you know that that's the tap, where the tap's going to sit, then that's going to help you when you're drawing the rest of this out. You'll erase it later, but it helps you to work out what these lines are if you're confused. We're going to go back to here and have a look at our heights now. So we've got several height lines coming up here. Let's draw these four first, shall we? So the first measurement we'll put in is 400, which I think you can see. If you look at your thing, it's 400, and then 200, 200, and then 300. So that's 400, 200, 200, and 300. So let's mark that on the side of our wall here. And I'm going to do it as a running measurement, which means I add those measurements up as I go along. So there's 400. I add 200 to that. That gives me 600. I add 200 to that. It gives me 800. And then I add 300 to that, and it gives me 1100. So I'll mark those points off on my wall. So that was 4. That was 4, and 200 gives me 6. And another 2 gives me 8 from here. And then 3 gives me 1100. So that's what those ones are. And then I'll zoom in now because I don't need to have that at the top there anymore. Why doesn't it move when I want it to move? Okay. So let's gently draw those across. 2, 3, and this one here. Okay. So what we've got now is we've got the 2 drawers and the bit before the mirror. So we can get rid of anything above this line here. We can get rid of that, including the center line that we had before. So we've got a very, very, very nice lot of things happening there. And if we come back and we have a look at, well, the basins actually raise up from the bench top by 50, and then they come down by 200. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So that's the bench, that's the base, that's the bench top. So I'm just going to write in bench top. And I have to measure up 50, and then from the 50 measure down 200. So let's do that. At 1 to 20, I will measure up 50, which is that much. And then I will measure down from that point 100, I think. 200, sorry. 200. And put another dot there. So that line there is my bench top. I measured up 50. And then I'm going to measure from this 50 down 200. So from here to here is 200. And again, I'll just very gently draw those lines across like that. Now this is where we get rid of certain things, or we darken in first to begin with.
Please can you just
Stop! Stopping!
thank you.
That's all right.
So sorry, Annalise, the last bit, you measured.
Okay, so you've got all those lines there that we've done. I'm going to just, if I look at this, have this with me, I'm going to draw this line and this line and this line. Okay, so from, oh no, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should draw, let's draw these two lines first. Okay, the top of the basin and the bottom of the basin. So the top of the basin is here. So I go draw that one across and draw that one across. And then remember we measured down 200, which is to here. And that one goes across and that one goes across. So I've just drawn the width of each one of these. And now I'm going to draw the vertical lines. So we look like we've got two rectangles sort of sitting in front of us like so. Ta-da! Draw the top, draw the bottom horizontal line, draw the top horizontal line, draw the bottom horizontal line across those two areas which we know is where the sink, up here you can see the sink actually sits. And then you can go to the line that was the bench top and you can draw that across, which will be in 3 sections. Okay, here, the middle, and on the other side. Then from the bench top, come down to your first 200 down, draw that line across, come down to the next 200, draw that line across. And then you can erase the line work. I'm just getting rid of the outside line, so I won't get rid of anything else. I'm going to get rid of the middle of that and the middle of that. That one. I just erased lines away that I didn't want erased. And then you can use the line that's, oh, you can't really see that, can you? I'll have to move that up a bit. But you've got a center line here anyway. See that point that you had there? That's the center of this drawing because you got it from the crossover. And you can use that to help you draw this line here, which is, these are 2 drawers, okay? So I find the center of my drawing, which is, that's the center of my drawing, and I can go down here, and that gives me where the 2 drawers are. So I end up with something that looks vaguely or even very likely like my drawing. I think the only thing that's left to do, this is the mirror. I'll just draw the mirror across, quite dark. And then I'm going to darken these lines around the outside, like so, and like so, and like so. Oh, it's moved. Here we go. And just out of interest, what's the last couple of things that I'm missing on this drawing? If you look at this one, what am I missing on this drawing? Can anyone tell me? Yes! So you can place your taps sort of in the center of here somewhere and just draw them as a, I do that. Really, you should center line your taps, but I'm not. Oh no, it's at 1000 the taps are. So it actually tells us, doesn't it, over here, 1000 center line is where the taps are. So I should make that measurement, shouldn't I? And not pretend I know what I'm doing. So I will make the 1000, which is to there, and this is where my taps are going to go. Here and here. So I can just make a couple of little square things to make it look like they're taps coming up from the wall. So it's nice like that. And there we go. It might have a bit longer thing on it, which you might want to put on. If you're feeling that way inclined, use the tap from the drawing above. To draw it down a little bit so that you do something that's as simple, very, very simple, like that. Because at this point in time, we just want them. It's one of those taps that has one of those handles that go off to the side. Let's mix the tap. There we go. And that, my little avocados, is how you draw an elevation. And then you can tidy up the other bits and pieces that look horrible on your drawing, which is always a good thing. Get rid of some of those excessive lines so that when we ink it up, we only draw in the lines we want to keep. I get rid of that. And I'm going to get rid of that as well, because I don't need them until later on. Ooh. And so that's that one. Let's make that look better, shall I? got a few clunky parts. I just want to make it look better. Okay. Yep. There. Nice. Okay, you tell me when you're ready for the next bit. I'll take questions now as well.
Annalise, how wide from the centre line was the tap, please?
Well, if you use a guide from the one that you've got above you in the plan, you can just bring both those lines. But I just sort of made this look like a square. I think I came out by 40 mil on each side of the centre of that point there.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, you could make it a little bit bigger if you want to. It's not a problem. We're just indicating a tap at the moment. Okay. So if I was going to do that, we did do it that way. What did it look like? One centimetre from there. 1 centimetre from there. I don't know whether that would look any good though. Let's have a look at it and see what it looks like, and then we'll take it from there, I think. Do that. So it's going to do that. And that's 3. And that, oh, how much is that? That's 16. So if you go 8 and 12, I suppose it'd work out. Turn this off. Records, and what am I? Okay, so we're going to put some dimensions on. Now, the interesting thing about dimensions, I'm sure you're all going to agree with me and go, wow, I didn't know that about dimensions. I have learnt so much today. So the thing about dimensions is that they have a baseline, and then they have what's called a leader, which is one that, a line that sort of crosses the baseline, and it has a thing that does this, that goes across those two. I might just zoom in, do a horrible zoom in so you can see my dreadful, horrible hands. So dimensions have a baseline. Then they have what's called a leader, which points to the object that's going to be measured. And it also has, through these two crossed lines here, it will have one of these, which will be slightly thicker. Sorry, you didn't see any of that, which will be slightly thicker and indicates that that's the beginning of a measurement as well. And so you might have another one of these pointing down to another measurement and one pointing down over here. But every time this line crosses that line, you will have something that does this. So this is called, bringing your piece of paper over so people can see, an architectural tick. Okay. This little bit here is called a leader. A leader points to the beginning. I think there's two ends in beginning and end of a dimension. Mention. A dimension just means it's a number of measurement. And I've just written off the page again. Sorry, guys. So a dimension is a number of measurement. Okay. And then this one, which we first did, that's your baseline. Okay. And dimensions, the number for the dimension, the actual measurement, the number of it. So from here to here we'll say is 500, or from here to here we will say is 500. You need to write the 500 in the center of this. That's not in the center though. Ignore what I just did then. You need to write it in the center. Let me just do that again. Need to write it in the center of these. So this is our baseline. This little thing at a 45-degree angle. 45-degree angle is our architectural tick. So there's our 45-degree angle. This one that points, this is called a leader, and a leader points to the beginning and end of a dimension. And a dimension is the number of measurement. Okay. So this one might be 900. So that'll be in the center of that one. So if we go back and have a little look at this particular number, at the top here, all of our leaders are pointing down to the drawing. Okay, can you see that? There's our leader pointing down, and they're pointing to items that are within the drawing. If you follow them down with a ruler, you would find that that's what they did. And then when we get to this side, we need to have dimensions coming up here. And so we will do dimensions pointing to these measurements. So see how all of the dimensions point in towards the room. Let me just bring that up a bit so that you can see what I'm talking about, and a little bit more. You can see that on your sheets that you've got, or on your screen. If you've got on your screen, you can see that all of these point in towards the drawing. They're pointing to a measurement. Okay. And in between each one of those is the measurement, okay, or the what we call dimension. So once you get used to doing that, things pointing in, etc., etc., the other thing that you'll notice is that the dimensions are on top of this line, the numbers are on top of this baseline and this baseline, and they're on top of this, they're on top of this baseline and this baseline. Now, these are on the inside, so you would have thought that these would be on the inside too. They're not. They always go on top of the line, on top of the baseline. So even though these are pointing down or are up here, the dimension still gets drawn above, okay, so that it's easy to read. And then when you look at these two sets, here and here, if I turned my page at a 90-degree angle, you'd see that these do the same things as the one that I just showed you. So again, the number or measurement sits above the baseline, and up here the number or measurement sits above the baseline again. So it's just, but don't keep turning your page around. Like if I turn it that way, these are in the wrong spot. Okay, but because when you do dimensions, you just do this way facing, okay, facing up with the writing of the dimensions, and then you just turn this drawing and above and above. When you turn it back, it'll look like that. So that's why dimensions sit where they sit, why the leaders point to the measurement, why there are these architectural ticks, which you can see that are at a 45-degree angle to where the leader and the baseline sit. So that's the leader and that's the baseline. And then this points, it's almost as if they've got a little arrow pointing to whatever they're dimensioning in the drawing. And there is sort of, it's not vague, but there is sort of a generalization that you start from when you start your dimensions, you start dimensioning from the inside of your drawing. So each layer, so this would be here, and then the next layer would be there, and the next layer as it came out. But in this case, there isn't too many layers or things to be dimensioning, so we're not sort of getting too confused with that yet. Don't worry about it until we actually have to do it. But you will always find that these face in and that these sit above. That sits above. Turning your page, these one will sit above and these ones will sit above. And you have to write them that way as well. And it comes back to here. A center line, which is what CL means, sits on either side of the leader that's actually pointing and showing you where the center line is going to be. Okay. All right, let's try copying what we've got here onto here. And to do that, we're going to start off with measuring away from these four sides 1 centimeter at 1 to 100 or you know, just an ordinary centimeter ruler, or you can use the 1 to 100 on your scale ruler, or I always find it easier to use the 1 to 100 on my scale ruler and just go just use those, because at this point you're not actually needing to draw, you just need an even measurement away from your drawing. Or at 1 to 20 you can make it every 200, which ends up being 1 centimeter anyway. Okay, so if I go down here and I'm just going to measure away 200 at 1 to 20, 200 at 1 to 20, 200 at 1 to 20, do the same at the top, away from here 200, 200, 200. I'll do it down this side. So I'll just measure away 200, 200. Oh, got that weird. That one there and that one there. And do the same over this side. Make sure they're all 200s. 200, 200, 200 and 200. So that's how far away and apart my dimension lines are going to be. I will just very lightly to begin with, but I'm not going to do it too lightly so you guys can't see it. I'm just going to put in some lines for where every single one of these lines that I drew, I'm going to be doing that. Whoops. And the same down here. That one, and then that one, and then that one. So I put in more lines away from my drawing that I think that I might need, so I don't have to keep drawing them all the time. Just one more there, I think, and one more there. So that's giving me the spacing moving away, and that's what another thing that makes a drawing look really neat and makes it easier to read is when the dimensions don't actually touch the drawing themselves. Sometimes you will find drawings that will have dimensions going right up to the edge of the drawing. I find that really confusing. I think you need to see some space around here. So that you can still see the drawing but you still have the dimensions, and you need to write them clearly. So let's just do the first one down the bottom here, which is this one and this one. I might just stick that down on sticky tape so it doesn't move.
Sorry, can I just ask, you did the lines around the edge.
Yeah.
You were saying you use the 1 to 100, is that right?
You can use the 1 to 100. Okay, or...
So I did that the mine looks way too thick compared to yours.
Yeah, no, that's because what you've done is, have you used 1 to 100 or 1 to 20?
I was using the 1 to 100 side of the ruler, and I've done 2.
No, you should only have done one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you can just put in between those measurements that you did. But if you're doing it at 1 to 20, then you would go 1, 2. It's still the same measurement. That's the thing. Still the same size. It's just differently. See, that's 1 centimeter, and then that's 200 at 1 to 20. So it's sort of still the same.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend out these lines that I just first drew. I'm going to find the center line of here, which is where the drawer is, and I will gently draw a line down there, and I will gently draw another line coming down there like that. So I end up with, oh, and you can't see that at all, can you? Let me just bring that down. Try that again with a bit more feeling. And I might just fold that underneath there so that you cannot see it. There we go. And then I can bring that down to about there. So I followed the outside line here down. I followed this center draw line down, and the other outside line down. So what I've drawn is I've actually drawn those 3 lines, but I'm only going to keep portions of them. So my overall measurement, which always sits at the very end of a set of dimensions, is my overall measurement. But I only want my measurements to start on this line In other words, I want the leaders that point to my measurement to start on this first line, not the first line being a baseline. I'll show you what I mean. So what I'm wanting to do is I want my leader to start here and then go down. My leader to start there and then go down and cross over the line a little bit. And again with this one. So I've got something that's just been brought down. What have I got underneath here that's making, oh, okay, gotcha. So in other words, this is the bottom of my drawing, but I only want my leader to start there, and I will erase this line, the first one I drew, after I've started my leader line. So I'm giving myself a measurement away from the drawing, which is 1 centimetre, and then I start my dimensioning down here. And because this line goes all the way down and continues, I can continue this line coming down to here, so it connects this lot of measurements with this lot of measurements and sort of keeps them in a nice group, which is what you want it to do. I will continue this line down to the next horizontal line, so I end up getting this. And then in the end, when I cross that over on my horizontal, and I cross that one over on my horizontal, I get that. And as I said before, where these two intersect, you put your 45-degree architectural tick on. So you might not have a 45-degree set square, so just make it sit at 45 degrees. Oh, that was the wrong thing to do. Oh, I'm getting tired. I think that's what's wrong with me. My eyes are getting really bad, so you don't want the center one, you only want that one. So there is those. So this has just been drawn here. If I want to keep my writing the same height and make it look beautiful, I can set up some guidelines for myself on each line. You can measure these, but if you've got good eyesight and good proportion, you can just draw some guidelines. So I've just drawn some guidelines for myself, and then I'm going to put 1,000 so it sits here, and 1,000 so it sits here, and then a 2,000 so it sits there. Goodness me, my writing is really bad. There, like that. And again, you can get rid of your guidelines afterwards. But it just gives you an idea of, you know, let's make those darker so everyone can see them. And just make those a bit wider. Try and get them the same size. Give me a yell when you've all done that.
Hi, Annalise. What's the measurements for the numbers? Like, what's the height of the numbers? Or the measurements, I'm sorry?
I didn't give you any. I just said have a guess
Oh.
and try and keep them neat all the way around. So if if you work out, they're just guidelines for you. You can find dimensions on your rulers to actually make them fit. So it'd be like a 20 mil and then 100. You could do it like that, or you could do it, I just sort of guess. So if I put in that, if we've got a dimension, I can tap, and we've got one of those, and we've got one of those, and we've got a big one of those that does that, and then that's I keep drawing across pages, and then that's a guideline. So you could go out to the side here, so that you actually end up with 20, and then from here to here would be 80 mil. So 20 and then 80, all up it'd be 100. So it's just a guide for you. You might want to make it a bit smaller. I tend to want to make mine on the smaller side. That's a bit too big for me. But, it depends on, what your writing is going to be like. And it depends on what scale you're drawing at as well, because sometimes when you're drawing in a much smaller scale, you have to actually bring your dimension height, or your annotation, which is annotation just means text, down appropriately in size too. Someone's bashing something about outside. Good grief. This is a guideline for annotation. Guideline for annotation. Annotation means text description. Numbers, etc.